Alright guys, return trip here to find a leak on this 3-zone Daikin mini split. There's head number 2, and then there's a head back in the bedroom back there. So what we're going to do, hook our gauges up, pump this guy up with nitro. Alright guys, there's quite a bit of refrigerant left in this, so I'm going to go ahead and put my plunger back in my disconnect and turn this guy back on. I'm going to pump what's in the system back into the outdoor unit, isolate it from my line sets and my indoor units, and we'll pump it up with nitro. That way we can still try to salvage this refrigerant. Now, if I can't find a leak out here, then we know we got a leak internally in this unit, and then I'll know how to continue. You guys see my analog gauges here, so just so you guys know, I just ordered up the whole field piece, wireless probe set, temperature clamps, and a wireless vacuum gauge. I don't know why I couldn't think of vacuum gauge for a second. So I'm going to have all the good stuff, and I got some Appion tees I ordered up. I'm going to have, my whole setup's going to be different here soon, so I'll be able to be a little more pro on this stuff. My digital gauges took a shed ever since. I've just been using my backups, and I'm cheap when it comes to tools sometimes. Just waiting for this guy to kick back on. We'll pump her down into the outdoor unit, and then we'll pressurize our lines and our wall units. There it goes. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to... Oh, this stupid Daikin isn't standard size. I gotta... Damn it. I gotta go grab a different Allen wrench. Stupid Daikin. Been a while since I messed with the Daikins. I didn't realize they weren't standard speedy ratchet sized. So we're going to go ahead and close our liquid line down. With our Husky Allen Bissett. And then we're going to watch our gauge drop. Dropping very quickly. Suction will not be far behind. So we will start closing it off, but not completely until all of our refrigerant is trapped. Continuing to fall slowly. Suction is falling. Alright, get this to drop down to 0. We'll close him off, and we'll get the nitrogen on there. Just about there. I like to make it go into a little bit of a vacuum before I close it off. Like watching paint dry. And she's probably good to go ahead and turn her off. Nitro time. Alright, we are at 5, let's call it 5:06. Let's watch it for a bit, see if she moves. We know it's leaking somewhere, so let's hope it moves, and then I can, that's what she said, huh? Let's hope it moves, and then we'll start spraying her down. With my luck, it could have been coming out of the caps the whole time, but I didn't see any evidence of any oil. But on a slow leak, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you're not going to see that oil. It's just kind of just barely squirting, you know, barely coming out of there, so you're not going to get a real pressurized oil buildup you would on a larger leak. Like if you have a braze joint that opened up, or a bad flare, you'll see a little bit of oil. But mini splits, you'll see for some reason you see less oil when you have a leak on them for some reason. But yeah, I sniffed this the other day and I couldn't find anything, so let's just let this sit for a bit. Alright guys, it's been about a half an hour, and if anything, she's gone up a little bit because of the heat out here. Everything's heating up, but especially the attic. I'm gonna start pulling the lid, start pulling this guy apart, and see if I can see anything inside of this unit. If I determine we got a leak in here somewhere, it is still under warranty. It should be. I'll have to look it up. It's 8 years old. If it was registered properly, it'll still be under warranty. So let's start tearing the shell apart on this guy. Take a look at the coil. Alright guys, I got the front and the top off of this guy. I exposed all these U-bends. I can get to most of the joints here in and around the compressor. I'll put my leak detector, my sniffer on sensitive, high sensitivity, and we'll see what we can see. I don't see oil anywhere. I mean, this stuff all looks good here. So I'm going to sniff this thing out. If I do not find anything, I'm going to probably put everything back together. I'll pull a vacuum on my lines and my wall units, dump the charge back, we'll fire it back up, and I'm just going to watch it and see if maybe there's something else going on here. But I've came back and charged this, and it worked for a few days, and he was just fine, and then it would drop off over time. So I mean, that's indicative of a leak. Hopefully there's not something else going on here, but we'll do our due diligence and we'll sniff out this unit the best we can. I can't get to the U-bends on that side. I don't see any way that I can, but I'll just be able to stick my wand back in there as far as I can, try to find something. All right, guys, I isolated like I had it before. I had my gauges just pressurizing my lines and my indoor units. It was holding fine. I went ahead and recovered my charge in the outdoor unit. Now I have the entire system charged up to 500 psi, and we're at about little under 510. Let it sit for a bit. If I don't find a leak, I don't know what to say. While I'm watching this guy hold, I'm gonna go inside and give the coils a little cleaning. Hit them with the old new Calgon here. They're not too bad. They could be better, but we'll just hit each of them just a little bit. In spite of doing, you know, a full-on chemical cleaning here. I'm not getting my bib kit out for this. When we turn these back on, this stuff's made to rinse itself off. Will you be able to eat off it afterwards? No, but it'll be better. It'll be improved. All right, good enough. All right, guys, she was holding no problem, so I'm dumping out my nitro. I'm going to put this back together. I'm going to pull a good vac on it. Make sure I got good Schraders in there and good caps. Actually, I'm going to replace the Schraders before I do anything else. Crazy. All right, we'll get these Schraders out. I got a couple of virgin ones right there. We'll get those in, get our vacuum pump hooked up. All right, guys, got my shelves back on all these guys. Got them all cleaned up. Got the vacuum pump running, which I'll show you here in a second. Never did show you the third one. Might as well show it to you. And you got to be real careful when you put a 6,000 or 7,000 K wall unit in a bedroom, because they will overheat the room. So got to be real careful strategically how you do this. But it is what it is. I didn't install it, so I learned my lesson the hard way on that. But it's not a very big room, so. All right, let's go see how the vacuum pump's doing. All right, guys, my phone was overheating, so I didn't get some of that vacuum and stuff, but on the old JB vacuum gauge here, I had held a decay test about 300 for a good 10 minutes, so I was happy with that. I got my refrigerant hooked up here. I measured up all my lines here. We're going to go probably, factory charge is 6.17. We're a little over factory, so I'm going to just do 6.5 pounds. And we'll weigh her in. I already bled my line out. Open up my refrigerant. Open up our gauges. And we'll pump her into 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Alright, guys, she's purring. Let's hope she stays this way. I did everything I could. I did not find any leaks anywhere. I don't think we have an EEV problem, because it's, why would it take it 3 days for that to happen? And every time I come back, I've came back twice now and charged it up, topped it off, and it's good for a couple days. So, and the first time it was good for like over a week. So, I don't know, man. I don't have the D checker thing to put on this, so you know, if it keeps having issues, you might have to find somebody that has one of those, because I know that's the only way to really get into the diagnostics on these. I do not have that tool because I don't like Daikin. So what I'm going to do now is just going to make sure my temps are good on all 3 of the units, and cross my fingers. All right, wall unit number 1, we got 54 degrees supply, and you can read that, 77. I turned it off. 76 degrees on our return. That's good. Let's go to the next one. Unit number 2, we got 51 degrees supply, 71 and rising return. Let's go to the last one. All right, unit number trace, sitting at about 53.6 supply and 70, see that, 71 return. So that one's not perfect, but this room also could be a little bit more humid as well, so you're going to have a lower temperature drop. I don't know, but we're looking okay. I know the system's operating. I'm going to do one last thing before I leave. I'm going to go back out to the outdoor unit. I'm going to pull that cover back off. I just want to make sure none of my lines are frosting up and that my line temps are all looking good. Let's go check that out, and then we'll call it good for now. Hopefully good forever. All right, guys, so we're back. I didn't get footage of my getting the temperatures of each of the suction lines out there. It's always a good idea to do when you're finished up with these mini split calls, just to make sure that nothing's out of whack. Some things you got to take into consideration when you're checking out the line temps on these mini splits is they're constantly changing. You know, whether or not the EEVs are opening up on that unit, if it's calling, if the room has is real close to set temp, you're not going to get as much temp going to that unit. So you know, if you put your probes on all your suction lines coming back on a wall unit for a ductless mini split, you are not going to get consistent numbers. If you're looking for 50 degrees coming back on all heads, you're not going to get that. Like I said, I couldn't get footage of it because people are losing their minds these days. There was some sort of domestic dispute next door, and they were screaming and fighting. I didn't want to get that on video, although you guys probably would have enjoyed it. But I was all about the task at hand and making sure the system worked for them. But back to the suction line temps. So another thing that helps you by doing that is if you don't know which unit is what coming into your heat pump, if you have one line that's going through an attic and one doesn't, I mean, it's pretty obvious. If one's got a little bit more temp to it, you can pretty much decipher which one's which. You can also do it via, turning one off, one on. But if you're already there and you want to know which is which, that kind of helps you with that too. So it's always nice to know which one's which when you are troubleshooting like I was. So anyway, that's it for that. Hopefully I don't get called back to it. If I do, I do. I'm not perfect. And thanks for watching.